Hey guys, Renaissance Gamer here. Oh boy, am I excited to show you this. Kirby Air is one of my favorite party-style games for the Nintendo GameCube. Heck, it's even been years since I first started this metaphorical Warp Star ride. And you know what? I've enjoyed every minute of it. I still can go back to this game and have as much fun as I did when I was a kid. Now, Kirby Air uniquely has 3 game modes. Air Ride for a more classic-style racing experience, Top Ride for more quirky fun, and the ever-famous City Trial mode. Now, each of these modes contains a variety of secrets that I'd love to share with you guys. So, why waste any more time? Let's get started, shall we? Like many other games, Kirby Air Ride floated around in development before it eventually was published for the Nintendo GameCube. This was during the Nintendo 64 era and went under the title of Kirby's Air Ride. Pictures reveal that a variety of other characters were able to ride the Warp Star. This is possibly an idea that they later reused when they allowed you to play as both Meta Knight and King Dedede. However, game footage reveals more of an on-rail racing game, which highly resembles another game for the Nintendo 64 called 1080 Snowboarding. Now, for unknown reasons, development of this game was halted and wouldn't re-emerge into the Nintendo GameCube era. Whether this was a good or a bad thing, I'll leave that for you guys to decide. I gotta say, that snowboarding Kirby was a really cool concept, but I'm a huge fan of the one that we know and love. Created in 2003 by HAL Laboratory, Kirby Air Ride is a 3D racing game. Now, it was originally criticized for its overly simple controls and relatively simple gameplay. That aside, many people, myself included, were able to overlook this simplicity and find the fun and charm that is Kirby Air Ride. And it's quite obvious that I'm not the only one who thinks like this, because Kirby Air Ride has actually made several cameos in not only later Nintendo games, but also in various sources of entertainment. So to finally get started, there are many references between Kirby Air Ride and another one of Masahiro Sakurai's franchises. Yeah, I'm talking about none other than Thanks, pal. Well, yeah, Super Smash Brothers. Whether you like running, jumping, punching, shooting, or slashing, Sakurai's masterpiece, Super Smash Brothers, is a ton of fun. You can even be Kirby in these games, although past the 64 version, well, that's beside the point. See, Kirby Air Ride has had an influence on the production of all of these games in one form or another. Some of the minor influences between these games is that some of the sound effects used in Melee were actually reused in Kirby Air Ride, and the menu screens of Super Smash Bros. Brawl were actually based off of those in Kirby Air Ride and highly resemble them. Like I said, notice how both menu screens have gear-like machines in the background. This was the design choice from Kirby Air Ride that Sakurai must have liked, so he kept it for Brawl. Ah, well, here's something interesting. In Melee's Event Match mode, Event Match 16 places you as Kirby himself, bombarding your fellow puffballs with the Warp Star. Well, aside from looking absolutely ridiculous, this event is called Kirby's Air Raid. Well, if you ask me, that sure sounds a lot like Kirby's Air Ride, and the Warp Star is your main method of disposal. Quite a coincidence. Now, the Smash series also gives the spotlight to Kirby Air Ride's very own legendary machines Hydra and Dragoon. As a matter of fact, the legendary Air Ride theme, which is now playing, is from Kirby Air Ride and is available on the Battleship Halberd stage in both Brawl and Smash 4. Now, unfortunately, Hydra only appears in the series as a mere trophy, but Dragoon lands a much larger role. In a similar fashion to the City Trial mode, Dragoon appears in battle in the form of 3 separate pieces and is initially useless, but not for long, because as soon as a player gathers all 3 pieces, Dragoon becomes a devastating item easily capable of destroying all of your foes. Wow, poor Wario. Anyway, if you thought that was cool, that's not even the coolest part. So Super Smash Bros. Brawl uniquely featured a Subspace Emissary campaign mode. Now, this campaign mode was extremely popular and featured impressive cutscenes alongside really fun gameplay. Now, many of these cutscenes were really quite epic, but there was always one that stood far above the rest. Don't believe me? Maybe we should just take a look. Well, there you go. Poor son of a guns didn't stand a chance. Now, a few final similarities between the games is that both Brawl and Smash 4 feature a challenge checklist. On these checklist grids, you get to break a block whenever you accomplish a feat, and this leads to further unlockables. The neat thing is that Kirby Air Ride had this feature first, although it was a bit larger in scale because all 3 modes had their own checklist. And to finish it off, remember earlier when I mentioned Kirby Air Ride's City Trial mode? Well, in this mode, you scour the landscape collecting various power-ups in order to gain the edge in the upcoming Stadium minigame. Besides being devilishly fun, Smash 4 actually reuses this concept in the 3DS's Smash Run mode and the Wii U's Smash Tour mode. In both modes, you must collect power-ups to gain an advantage in the final battle. Gotta hand it to you, Sakurai. That was a nice touch. Now allow me to switch gears as we move off of video games for a bit. Let's go back to 2002 for the North American release of the Kirby animated series called Kirby Right Back Atcha. Created by Nintendo and HAL Laboratories' very own Warp Star Incorporated, Kirby Right Back Atcha was a fun 100-episode long Kirby anime. Now I will spare the details for a later time, but Kirby Right Back Atcha was filled to the brim with many pop culture and political references throughout its 100-episode span. For the sake of this particular video, we're going to look at the show's references to Kirby Air Ride. Many of the show's episodes lacked clear continuity and contained their own little adventures that may or may not have actually contributed to the overall plot. However, this was not the case for the finale, the 5-part special called Fright to the Finish. Although the entire special was an absolute blast to watch, the cameo made in the first 2 parts is our focus. It's funny because I consider this a neat little secret, but it couldn't be more obvious. These episodes were very bluntly named Air Ride in Style Parts 1 and 2. Nintendo clearly didn't try to hide this cameo at all. In fact, there's a major difference in these episodes' Japanese and North American release dates. Now, these episodes were a part of the finale and appropriately numbered as episodes 96 and 97 in Japan, and altogether had a different name, being called Crisis in the Warp Star Parts 1 and 2. However, Air Ride in Style was actually released as episode numbers 50 and 51 in North America. Why? Well, this was actually done so the episode's release could coordinate with the release date for Kirby Air Ride. I mean, after all, the enemies riding the Formula Rocket, Winged, and Shadow Star were really cool. Why wouldn't you want to buy the game? Alrighty folks, we're near the end, but don't leave just yet. The final thing I wanted to share with all of you are some of my personal favorite glitches you can find in Kirby Air Ride. Now don't get me wrong, Kirby Air Ride is a very well built game, and none of these glitches actually affect gameplay. They're more or less just fun ways to goof around. For example, when you fly high enough in the City Trial mode, usually like on Dragoon or the Flight Warp Star, you can actually fly over the invisible boundary walls. This happened to me as a kid, but right before I could actually panic, I realized that the game actually allowed you to re-enter the boundary zone. Pretty funny. Alright, so the first of these glitches involves my good buddy the Bulk Star. Not necessarily graceful, nor even eloquent, this hot rod style star prides itself on its high top speed offense and defense. I'm going to be quite honest, I never quite liked this star as a kid. It just looked off. But don't let that stop you, because apparently this puppy can fly. Alright, so get this. Kirby Air Ride City Trial Mode has a stadium feature, and one of the events is called Air Glider. Now in Air Glider, you take a star and put its gliding capabilities to the test. Did I forget to mention this? The Bulk Star has absolutely awful gliding abilities. I mean, not even remotely good. But that's where the glitch comes in. If you be the Bulk Star and appropriately boost off the ramp, you can actually continuously press A to awkwardly stutter yourself along. Remember when I said that the Bulk Star wasn't quite eloquent? Well, yeah. The last cool glitch I'd like to show you guys is a bit more complicated and actually does require some preparation. This is a weird model glitch that you can activate if you jump ever so slightly on a ledge and happen to slip right off. Now doing so would happen to trap Kirby in a permanent falling position. However, if you place a time bomb at the bottom of the ramp as the video shows, you can actually use this explosion to knock Kirby right out of this position. This sets Kirby permanently spinning in circles and thus born the Kirby Breakdance glitch. Try as you might, once Kirby gets in this groove, there's no turning back. No, seriously, this glitch actually keeps him spinning forever until someone knocks him out of it. But really, I don't think Kirby minds one bit, because if we learned one thing today, it's that Kirby in general is tons and tons of fun, and for that reason, Kirby Air Ride for the Nintendo GameCube is one of my favorite games. Well everybody, I gotta say, I've had an absolute blast taking Kirby Air Ride out for yet another spin, and I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And hey, if you ever want to learn any more cool video game secrets that are pretty neat, check out the rest of my YouTube channel. Thanks everybody, Renaissance Gaming here, see y'all later.